Welcome back to Grammar Grade 10. This is Unit 10, Lesson 69, and it is the lesson that closes our capitalization unit. We have capitalized the first word of a sentence, and we have capitalized proper nouns, the names of particular people, places, and things. Today we take the last step. What happens when a proper noun turns into an adjective? Italian bread, a French film, a Shakespearean sonnet. Those capital letters are not decoration. They follow a rule, and there are two subtleties inside that rule that trip up even good writers. Let's dig in. Let's start with the definition, and it points straight back to our last lesson. Take the country, Italy. That is a proper noun, the name of one particular country, so it earns a capital I. Now make an adjective out of it and set it in front of a noun. Italian bread. That word Italian is a proper adjective, and it keeps the capital it inherited from Italy. Here is another one. France becomes French, a French film. The capital travels with the word, from the noun to the adjective. So the rule is short, and it never bends. A proper adjective is an adjective formed from a proper noun, and it is always capitalized. So where do proper adjectives come from? Two big sources, and the first is places. Alaskan winters. The Pacific coast. Alaska gives us Alaskan. The Pacific gives us Pacific. The second source is people. Real, particular human beings. A Shakespearean sonnet from Shakespeare himself. Victorian furniture, named for Queen Victoria. Even a Freudian slip, which comes from the psychologist Freud. In every one of those, the name hands its capital letter to the adjective, and the adjective keeps it. There is a third source as well, groups of people. The names of nations, of ethnic groups, and of religions all hand us proper adjectives. A Buddhist temple. Hispanic culture. Buddhism is a religion. Hispanic names a people, and both of them take a capital when they turn into adjectives. Nationalities work the same way. Brazilian coffee. A Nigerian author. Brazil gives us Brazilian. Nigeria gives us Nigerian. So the names of groups behave exactly like the names of places. The capital letter comes along every single time. Now, a warning that catches people constantly. The proper adjective is capitalized, but the common noun sitting right next to it is not. Look at this sentence. We ate Italian bread with our soup. That capital B on bread is wrong. Bread names no particular loaf. It is an ordinary common noun, so it stays in lowercase. Written properly, the sentence reads, we ate Italian bread with our soup. Capital I on Italian, small b on bread. And the same logic runs straight through brand names. Nike shoes. Kleenex tissues. The brand is a name, so it takes the capital. But shoes and tissues are ordinary things, and they do not. Capital on the name, lowercase on the thing. Here comes the first subtlety, and it is one that even careful writers get backwards. What happens when the proper adjective is part of a hyphenated word? Look at these. Anti-Soviet, un-American, pro-American. Every one of them is upside down. The writer capitalized the prefix and left the name itself in lowercase, exactly the wrong way around. A prefix like anti, un, or pro is not a name at all. It is just an ordinary little word part, and it stays lowercase. The capital belongs to the proper part, anti-Soviet, un-American. pro-Canadian. Notice the shape of it. Small letter, hyphen, capital letter. Every time. So in a hyphenated adjective, capitalize only the piece that came from the proper noun and leave the prefix alone. And here is the second subtlety, which is a strange and rather charming one. Some words began life as proper adjectives, but people use them so often for so long that the capital simply wore off. Think of French fries, Venetian blinds, china dishes, and pasteurized milk. Every one of them began with a name: France, Venice, China, and the scientist Louis Pasteur. But today they are just ordinary words, worn smooth by use, and so we write them in lowercase. That means if you write, "She ordered a plate of French fries," you have overcapitalized the phrase. Write French fries instead. Now, one honest warning. Dictionaries do not always agree about these words, and their answers change over the years. So when a word feels like a plain, everyday word now, look it up rather than guessing. Let's turn all of that into a quick check you can run over any sentence you write. 1. Is the word made from a proper noun? A place, a person, a nation, a faith? If so, capitalize it. 2. What about the noun sitting right beside it? Leave that one lowercase. It is only a common noun. 3. Is the adjective hyphenated? Then the capital goes on the proper part alone. Pro-American, never pro-American. 4. Is it a brand? Capitalize the brand and leave the product alone. Nike shoes, not Nike shoes. And 5. Does the word feel like a plain everyday word now, the way French fries does? Then check it, because time may have worn its capital away. When in doubt, look it up. Now let's practice. In this first set, I will give you a phrase with a blank, and you choose the correct form of the adjective. Pause the video and decide before I reveal each answer. Blank bread was on the table. Which is right, Italian or Italian? The word comes straight from Italy, which is a proper noun, so the adjective made from it is proper too. The answer is Italian with a capital I. She read a blank sonnet aloud. Shakespearean is formed from Shakespeare, the name of one particular person, so it carries his capital along with it. The answer is Shakespearean with a capital S. The festival celebrates blank culture. Hispanic names a whole group of people, and the names of groups are proper, so the adjective is proper as well. The answer is Hispanic with a capital H. Now for the subtleties: hyphens, worn down words, and brand names. Choose the form a careful writer would actually put on the page. Pause and try each one before I answer. The senator gave a blank speech. This is the hyphenated case. The prefix pro is not a name, so it stays lowercase, and the capital belongs to American. The answer is pro-American, small p, capital A. He ordered a basket of blank. This one looks like it ought to be capitalized since it came from France. But long use wore that capital away, and today the phrase is simply an everyday word. The answer is French fries, all in lowercase. She laced up her blank before the race. Nike is a brand name, so it is proper, and it keeps its capital. But shoes is just an ordinary common noun, so it stays lowercase. The answer is Nike shoes. Let's gather everything up. A proper adjective is an adjective formed from a proper noun. Italian bread, a French film, a Shakespearean sonnet. And it is always capitalized, whether it came from a place, a person, a nation, or a faith. Next, the common noun beside it stays lowercase, because bread is only bread. And in a hyphenated adjective, the capital goes on the proper part alone, as in pro-American. Finally, some once proper words have simply worn down into ordinary ones. French fries, Venetian blinds, China dishes. So when a word feels everyday, check it rather than guessing. And with that, Unit 10 is complete. Look back at what you can now do. You capitalize the first word of every sentence. You capitalize the proper nouns that name particular people, places, and things. And you capitalize the adjectives those names give birth to. Capital letters are quiet, but they tell your reader exactly what is a name and what is not. Congratulations on finishing the unit, and I will see you in the next lesson.